Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? My name is Kyle, you know me as Dragonmar, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going over 10 common mistakes low ELO players make and how to fix them. The goal of this video is to hopefully point out some things that many of you guys do, maybe you don't always notice, and I've tried to put a lot of things in this video that I don't normally talk about, but you may recognize a few of them. With that being said, if you do enjoy these videos, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see next. Without any further ado, let's begin the video. Alright, so getting into mistake number one here, and that is running while shooting. So, running while shooting is something that you pretty much see in every single Iron VOD. I mean, literally everyone I've watched, it's just as full of people running around corners, spraying, and they never stop. It's honestly impressive. Now, the problem with this is that you lose that first bullet accuracy that's so important in a attack shooter like Valorant, where one bullet to the head kills. So, you know, if you wanted to peek window, for example, you want to be able to one-tap these guys, right? You don't want to have to worry about that first shot going off into Narnia, right? So if you turn the corner like this, yeah, eventually you stop and you get your recoil under control, but it takes forever. And in that amount of time, you're generally dead in a game like Valorant. So the key here to fix running while shooting is to learn how to counter-strafe. Counter-strafing is very simple. All you do when you strafe to the right using D or to the left using A, you press the counter button to that. So if you're moving right with D, you would press A to stop. If you're moving left with A, you would press D to stop. And it looks something like this. And as you can see, every single shot is being countered, and my first bullet accuracy is perfect. And that's exactly what you're looking for. Easiest thing to do, by the way, and makes such a huge improvement for you in this game. Mistake number two is not something I've actually talked about on this channel before, and that's a peeking too close to corners. So if you guys don't know what this means, essentially what happens is based on, I think, geometry, I guess, in this situation. When you are closer to a wall or a surface like this, more of your body is exposed before your crosshair can actually get onto the enemies. So for example, if I'm peeking the player who's sort of on this part of B site, towards the back of B site, and I'm swinging close like this, you know, my body is so exposed before I can finally get that shot on them, right? I mean, I'm here. They can probably see part of my head, honestly. They might be able to get a one tap right there, right? But what happens when you back up? Well, first of all, it takes less movement to get over to see this angle, by the way. And also, you're a smaller target. Now, this is really, really important to understand, and a big problem for a lot of players who feel like whenever they peek, they're losing the fights. The reason they're losing the fights when they peek is because they're peeking off close angle like this. So it takes longer for them to be able to acquire that target. Well, the enemy is just watching this dude like slowly emerge behind a wall. Big, big problem here. So the simple fix, back up a little for your peek and then go for it. And that's literally it. It's that simple. You don't want to be this close. Like this, much better. And now, of course, you know, be careful with this, right? If there's people in other angles, don't obviously go for a deep peek like that. But the close range peeks, really, really have to make sure you're using those smartly, because those do cost people a lot of fights. Do you guys see what's in my hand right now? That's mistake number three, and that is forcing into a Spectre too often. Now, this is a very specific tip, right? Or a mistake, excuse me. And the reason is because I see this in, oh my gosh, it pains me to say this, but like probably half the VODs I watch, where the player I'm watching will actually just buy a Spectre on like every round. And I'm just sitting there like, when was the last time you saved? Now, a Spectre is a pretty good gun, but it's not that good, right? There's no penetration on it. It does shoot kind of fast, but at range it really starts to fall off, and it's a little more difficult to use, right? There really isn't a chance to ever get that one tap that you would get with a Vandal or a Phantom, and because of that, you're almost always at a disadvantage. The big problem with the Spectre is that it is relatively affordable at only 1,600 credits, right? Now, the problem with this is that what people end up doing is they'll buy the Spectre, then they'll die. Then they'll buy the Spectre again because they have enough credits. Then they'll die. Then they'll buy the Spectre again. And this is a horrible cycle where essentially the entire game, they just play with the Spectre and they never actually touch a rifle. I've been there, by the way. Trust me. I'm saying this from experience as well. Very, very important to understand that. Now, do you fix this? Really, really important to pay attention to the economy of your team and to only buy this Spectre if, you know, your team is already buying regardless, right? And honestly, start looking more towards the Stinger as well. The Stinger is a great option, especially with the right click. At lower ranks, you can get a lot of value out of this, even close range. Close range, the Stinger has crazy DPS, so it might be worth looking into that instead. But my big tip here is to stop forcing to the Spectre so often. If you are a player who does this, you just got called out right now, and you know that. Very, very important, because you're going to trap yourself into buying this weapon over and over and over, when really you should be saving up for the Vandal and the Phantom to actually give your team a fighting chance. All right, great. The round just started. Actually, let's even play the match timer for this one. Round just started, counting down from 140. Mistake number 4 is about smoking too early or using utility too early, but in this case, I want to talk about smokes. So this smoke here, over towards short, and this smoke up here in heaven, very common smokes. But watch this. From 125, it takes me roughly 6 to 7 seconds to get onto site, fully sprinting. Now, if you know, these smokes don't really last that long. I believe they last around 15 seconds each. And if it takes half that time to get to these smokes, you can see what I mean when I say too early. This is a big problem over here on Haven, especially on A, so I'm glad I chose this for an example. Because what ends up happening is, people get the right idea and they say, okay, we're going to attack A. But while their teammates are busy clearing sewer and clearing long, their smoke, their brim, or their omen are already smoking off this site. Why is this a problem, you may ask? Well, first of all, you're losing that valuable time it takes to get up here and to start fighting. Let me pause the match timer. But even worse, and a lot of people don't think about this, even worse is that you're also giving time to the enemy to rotate. They see this smoke, and they see the smoke in short, and the guy from B slides over, a guy from garage slides over, and suddenly you got way more people on site than you were expecting, and your team probably still isn't even on site. Very, very important to wait until your teammate is in position. That's the key with this one. Waiting until they're in position, you know, maybe they're at the top of sewer, or at the very least, your long players are near the orb, I would say, and then go for your smokes. That way, as they land in heaven and on short, your teammates are already approaching site. Mistake number 5, and boy, is this a fun one. Let's talk about the Vandal and the Phantom, and let's talk about spraying through smoke. So, if you are a Vandal user, first of all, hell yeah, I'm back to the Vandal gang. But second of all, you have to be careful. One of the main differences between the Vandal and between the Phantom is if you look in the bottom left, it says feature silence. So tracers are not visible to enemies. What this means is that with a Phantom, if I throw a smoke down, let's just put it in this doorway here, and I'm spraying these players over on sort of steps here in mid, coming up mid courtyard. If I spray like this, they can't pinpoint exactly, well, I'm hitting the wall, but they can't pinpoint where these shots are coming from. The Vandal, on the other hand, notice how it doesn't say silenced anywhere? That's a huge mistake that new players make. They think that because they're behind a smoke, they are free to spray, and they're free to just do this. The problem is, the enemy team sees that coming through the smoke, and then like, oh, you're standing right there? Here you go. And then you get one tap through the smoke, and you're wondering, hey, what did I do wrong? Like, why does this happen to me? Well, the truth is, with the Vandal, you have to be very, very careful when it comes to these situations. Now, I'm not really going to tell you a fix for this, because it is a decision that you have to make, but more so I want to make you guys aware of this, because this does catch people off guard, and it is a reason why the Phantom could be preferable in certain situations. So really, really important that you keep that in mind when you're playing. All right, getting into mistake number 6, and that is improper plant positions, especially when sites are clear. So post plant is already hard enough, right? The enemy team is barreling down. You probably has pretty decent utility as well. You might have used yours to get to the site, and now you have to defend somehow. One of the worst things you can do is planting in a corner or away from all of the sight lines. So I'm gonna give you guys an example here. This plant right here, if you plant it, well, not the best positioning for me. Let's try that again. If you plant right here, check this out. You can see this bomb from A-Link. You can see this bomb, you guessed it, kind of from C-Link, a little bit, depending on where they diffused from. But most importantly, you can see this bomb from all parts of steps, from window, both sides of it, regardless. You probably can even peek this from down here towards garage as well. Millions of spots to look from, right? Right. Now, what happens if you do that, and you plant there in this corner? Well, can we see any part of the bomb? they're tucked, you know, if they're, once again, if they're tucked away, no, we can't. But if they're outside, yeah, you can a little bit. But now you've eliminated the person on A-Link. So any player A-Link can no longer see the bomb. What else have you eliminated? Well, you've also eliminated this garage peek from garage side of mid as well. You peek, you miss, and that as well is gone. And a little bit of window too, right? Now, if you come from this side of window, if that player is standing sort of to the left of this bomb from our vision, we're not really gonna be able to see them. You go for like a wall bang or something. And this is really, really important to understand. And of course, I use B, which isn't the best spot to explain this on. But if you extrapolate this out to any map, you have to focus on planting for the sight lines, right? Like this planting right here when sight's clear, bad. Planting like right here when sight's clear, perfect. Right? Look at all of these angles that you could be in. Here, 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 right? Literally anywhere on sight. But when you start planting behind stuff, no. When sights are clear, you have to plant in the open. This is a huge, huge, huge noob mistake. This is how you get diffused on when you have numbers advantage. Really, really big problem, but super easy fix. Just plant out in the open when sights are clear. All right, mistake number 7, and I'm gonna use a post-plant situation again. Let's say the bomb is planted. We just pretend it's planted, please. Now, mistake number 7 is about not trading kills in favor of hiding. So this isn't so much about trading as it is about not getting aggressive and playing too passive on pretty much anything. This doesn't just have to be post-plant. This can be on defense as well. So let's say, you know, a very common spot is over here towards CT where defenders will come and they will try to retake this site if bomb's down. So what generally happens is you may have a player towards sewer, even on bomb site, but a lot of times you have players in this corner. Well, guess what? There's a player in this corner. They're probably taking this 1v1 here unless your sewer guy helps them. What if you are in a very common spot? Hell, right under heaven here. So what I see a lot is in my VOD reviews, I'll see a player just hold like this. Like literally like this. The bomb doesn't have to be there, right? Bomb can be anywhere. They just hold this angle and they don't move. Meanwhile, their poor little like Sage is over here in this corner like quivering like, oh my god, please help me, this guy's gonna peek me. He gets peeked, dies, and there's no trade, there's nothing. Now this guy, he's still happy as a clam. He's just chilling, right? He's just sitting here in this corner waiting, I guess, for the guy to peek him. But now with this being clear, the worry is no longer about here. He can focus all of his attention over here, comes over here to this angle, boom, sprays you, you're dead. This is a big problem, is the over passive play from newer players and from lower ranked players. Very, very important to work with your team. If you have a teammate over here in this cubby and they are, you know, they are worried, you play up here around this corner. Then when they get peeked, you go like this, you blast the guy, get a free kill. Very, very simple stuff there. All right, so mistake number 8, once again, let's use A here as an example. Mistake number 8 is about not playing contact. Now, you've heard me talk about defaulting before, but playing contact essentially means you are playing slow and you are playing methodically without making noise, but you're waiting for the enemy to make contact with you. You are not the one purposefully going for those aggressive plays or making a ton of noise or sprinting into sites. So you're perfectly fine with walking your way into a site and not making any noise. The only time you start running, the only time you start using abilities, the only time you start doing any of that type of stuff is when you make contact with the enemy or when the enemy makes contact with you. Remember, you do not seek it out when playing for contact. You simply allow it to happen and then you play off of that. So for example, if you're walking up sewer and you got guys who are walking up A long as well. Boom, boom, boom. They get peeked right here at the corner. The second they get peeked at that corner, that's when you start running as well. Right? At this time you guys have been walking, but now you start running. Now maybe you throw your smokes. You know, now you get your utility out. Now you go for the plant. All of that kind of stuff, right? Very, very important to learn how to play for contact because it's a really nice strategy to explode onto a bomb site as opposed to a rush, because what waiting for contact does is it delays rotations. So if you are able to get a nice trade on a site, you can delay those rotations and sort of get that perfect walkthrough onto a site. You know, normally it's going to be open after those initial kills, and now the enemy team also has to waste all that time rotating over because they didn't get that early info. All right, mistake number 9, and we have moved to the practice range. Now, we are talking about the classic. Get the prime classic here, looking pretty snazzy, but what I'm talking about is right-click classic users. Now, this is a big problem in the lower ranks, and part of the reason is that I think a lot of people get the misconception that because more bullets shoot, it's somehow better, and that's just not the case. There is a range for the classic. Now, up close, check this out, right? sort of slightly below the head, you're guaranteed all hits are going to hit. This is like a one-shot kill on most players, right? Look at all this damage I'm doing. Oh, 130 there, not quite as good. But as you can see, very, very promising here, especially if you get those shots in the head. What happens at 10 meters, though? This is a very common range to fight an enemy at, right? 10 meters, you're not too close, not too far, sort of mid-range. Okay, let's go for the headshot. What? 26? All right, let's give it another shot, shall we? 104, a little bit better. Give that another shot, shall we? Huh. Interesting. See how fast I can shoot, by the way? Not that fast, but what about this? What about 2 left clicks? Oh, that was pretty quick. Wait, so you're telling me left click at 10 plus meters is probably better? That's exactly what I'm telling you guys. What about 20 meters? Now, yeah, okay, I'm getting carried away. You don't really see that. But my point here stands, is that right click definitely has its value. You know, like jumping around corners. Maybe you're going for a little cheeky play like this on a close range agent, right? Someone around this corner, boom, go for that right click. I'm all for that. I do that as well. But when I see people blasting from 10, 15 meters with right click, and most of the time they're not even aiming towards the head, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, that's just not going to happen. Instead, guys, I highly recommend you go for those left clicks, but people will get mad if I don't say this. Left click plus right click right after is some of the highest DPS you can do. As you can see, it's pretty good. Left click, right click, pretty damn good. You can do that as well. But my point stands. You guys have to stop using your right clicks at range. Anything above 10 meters and you're starting to throw with it, go for those left clicks, hit those precise shots. It'll help you in the long run. All right, last but not least, mistake number 10. Oh man, this is a doozy. And it's not pre-aiming corners when you turn them. So what I mean by this is when you're clearing out angles, you always need to have a plan. So if I want to clear out bottom sewer, first, I want to clear this right angle here. I want to sweep over to the left, clear this left angle, maybe even close left, and then I'll walk through close right like that. Now, I've done my job clearing this angle, right? Or clearing this spot. The problem is, and the mistake is that a new player or a low-ranked player, what they'll do is they'll turn this corner like this. Notice where my crosshair is, right in the middle. Now, they may even be at like head level for down here, right? This is roughly head level. If the guy's against this wall, you're going to probably headshot him. The problem is, what if a player's over here? Or what if a player's over here, right? Now you have to make those flicks. And that's not what you want to do, especially as a new player when your aim probably isn't the best. Very, very important to understand that when you are going for these peaks, regardless of where you are, right? I don't care what part of the map you're on. You come down here, sewer, boom, close right. First, you want to clear up top as well. Almost forgot. Close right here, come around this corner, close left like that. You're doing this the entire time. There's none of this. Oh, walking out sight, just aiming in the middle, right? None of that. Never any. And the reason this happens is because there's so many angles to look at, right? I mean, there's so many. You don't know where this person could be. I mean, you're literally talking about like 6, 7 angles. The problem is that people don't think about it methodically enough. They're not like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? They don't think about it. They're like, all right, someone's on site, go, right? And that's it. That's it. That's all they think about. Simple correction is to always have a plan for this. Learn where you get seen from first, and then make your play off of that. And congratulations, you've just eliminated one of the biggest mistakes that low-rank players make. All right, guys, that is where we're going to end the video. 10 common mistakes I see in low elo. Hopefully this brought some attention to maybe some of the things you guys are doing. And if it did, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. I make multiple new videos every week and stream multiple times a week as well. Hope to see you guys there. And if not, well, take it easy and peace.